This is something that's important every year, and something that parents should be reminded of every year, particularly those that are having kids go to school for the first time. So talk about why we should be preparing now.
Well, as kids enter school, there's so much to remember as a parent, but one of the most important things is ensuring that our children are up to date with their immunizations according to their age. And, starting a new school year means that they may have had some immunizations throughout the year, so the importance of sharing that information with the health unit. Now, children, if they're just entering school for the first time, the health unit might not have that information. So when you register your child, you submit an immunization record to the school, and the school shares that information with us, and we update our systems to ensure that those children are protected while they're in school. So anytime that a child goes and has immunizations with their healthcare providers, their healthcare provider may not have provided that information to us. So that's why we would ask for it, especially at the beginning of a new school year.
I was just going to ask you, usually does not your family doctor do that for you, but I guess it doesn't happen all the time. So the school is just that extra precaution to get that information.
Right.
Okay.
I think there's an assumption that healthcare providers do provide immunization dates to the health unit, but that's not always the case. So it is the responsibility of the parent to share that with us.
Okay. So how does it work then? So this is something that schools require, correct, before children can even enter the school? Is it a mandatory requirement to have these immunizations?
Correct. So to be in school, according to the Immunization School Pupils Act, it is legislated that you are current with immunizations. Depending on your age, you're due for certain vaccines. So every year, our health unit will review student records to make sure that all students are up to date according to their age.
Okay, can you tell me, if you can, off the top of your head, really, how many immunizations does a child partake in throughout the school year? Like, I guess you could say from when they're born, really, to now. How many should a child have?
The first year of immunizations for the child, they receive many. They get immunizations at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and 1 year, and then they carry on. Once they're between the age of 4 and 6, they get school boosters. And once they hit that age, they then are not required to have immunizations again until they're in grade 7. So it can be many years between, the school entry vaccines to grade 7, and then they also get immunizations again when they're in high school.
Okay, so now let's, speaking of immunizations, there has been some movement nationally, internationally, whatnot, for parents who choose not to vaccinate their children, religious reasons or personal reasons, what have you. Now, what does the health unit do in that case, considering that it is legislation?
Right. So children can still attend school even if they're not fully vaccinated or vaccinated at all. They might have a philosophical reasoning why they're not immunized or a medical reason, and there is a legal affidavit that is required to have, that we have on the child's record and we keep. And we encourage parents that if that's the situation, whether medically or philosophically, that they give us a call at the health unit to discuss the actual process and getting the forms completed. If it's for philosophical reasoning, there is an educational session that we do provide to the parent, just to make sure that they're making an informed decision based on not immunizing their child to be in school. And this is not just a local initiative; it is a provincial legislated process that we follow.
And I guess it also too, it goes beyond just making sure that the kid's prepared. I know we talked a little bit off air about this, but the parents are prepared, excuse me. It's also, it's really important to have those documents for protection, really, right?
Right, yeah. The diseases are still out there. We've had cases of, pertussis and measles and mumps across our local region. And those children that could be at risk for those diseases, we will run a surveillance report and check to see that, are they current for those immunizations should there be an outbreak in that child's school or daycare. And if they're not protected, we want to protect them, and we will remove them from that facility or school until that outbreak is over.
Okay, so just to
So
reiterate,
it is-
it's really important to have that documentation if your child's not vaccinated or you choose not to have them vaccinated. Okay. However, good news for Simcoe Muskoka though, the rates, I mean, we're pretty good in terms of children being immunized, right?
Coverage rates across Simcoe Muskoka were about 96, almost 97% coverage rates for our immunization. So locally we're doing really well, and at a provincial level we're above average for immunizations for all our vaccines.
Okay, great. So I guess just my last question, really, for those that are watching right now, how do they contact you to get this process rolling in terms of reporting immunizations? Can they do that now, or do they have to wait till the school starts? All that.
Right. So many parents, if they're registering their child for school for the first time, may have provided that information to the school, and the school will share that with us. We really encourage parents to go online to our website at simcoemuskokahealth.org, and there is a share button on the homepage, and parents can go in and share their child's immunization. So it's a 24/7, makes it easy, so they can always report that to us. And if they have questions, if they're not sure if their child's up to date for immunizations, we always ask, contact your healthcare provider first, find out what they have on record, and then give us a call and see what we have, and make sure that they match. We really want to make sure that children, are adequately protected, and we don't want to over immunize. We just want to. We might not always have what the physician has.